of the book of Matthew. That's what Jesus told the rich young man. Hey, look, I want to get me my phone and then maybe water. Maybe water. Let me drink water. The book of Matthew chapter 19 verse number 16. I would like only God can be good and perfect. Let me tell you a mystery. Go ahead.
And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life?
Number 17.
And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good?
Why callest thou me good?
There is none good but one.
There is no good but one.
That is God.
That is God.
If thou wilt enter into life,
Yes.
keep the commandments.
Thank you. Let me get into mysteries. A lot of people don't know that when God incarnated Christ, Christ is not exactly what God wants. And if Christ is not exactly what God wants, Jesus can be. No, it wasn't exactly what God wants. God wants himself. So when God created Christ and discovered that Christ was less than him, that is not what God wants. Somebody who is less than him. You know, somebody is a high teacher. There are some things God accepts in season because the prophet is not around. Yes, because the prophet. Now, why is he looking at that? He still have idea of the prophet. Now, when Christ came in Luke chapter 2:11, and they stayed in Jesus. In Hebrews chapter 10:5, even though Jesus was a body prepared, he was still human. That means it's not exactly what God wants. That's why he said in 17, don't call me perfect because I am human. In 19 of the book of John, when they crucified him, it was arranged that blood and water should come out because flesh and blood shall not enter into God's kingdom. Flesh and blood means imperfection. Jesus have died, perfected his work as a Messiah, but he has not risen. He hasn't risen. And if they didn't remove blood and water from him, he can't rise. Because blood and water is a weight. And that blood and water was the reason Moses died. In the respect of his person, God has still arranged that his grave will not be known. But blood and water, in 12:1 of Numbers, you see why they were accusing him of marrying an Ethiopian girl. Let me leave it there. So, if no man is good and perfect, be very careful about how you harass others. Be careful. It's not that you will not give others advice when people are notorious. But while you're giving to advice, look at yourself. Because it is a Pharisee mentality that is keeping the church down. That is what is called holier than thou. And then sometimes it is also the reason we don't advance. Because we are already too careful. I said we are already too careful. Being too careful does not still make you perfect. Because Only God can be good and perfect. All the broken, flog him, pierce him. They were all acts of the flesh. What God was looking for in Jesus to see how he can perfect him. To limit water and blood. Maybe I should leave it. There is one other part I want you to know that is very high in it. Before I leave it. There's one other part. One other part in it. The one other part in it is that nobody can be near righteousness without clear vision. Nobody. No, without clear vision, because you see, you have to be harvested. I say because you have to be harvested, preserved by vision, saved by vision, to be anything good. So what vision do is at least to find some part of you that is good first. Because outside vision, the good and bad mix. And that's valuelessness. And that is being a perfect sinner. When good and bad mixes continuously, that is a perfect sinner. It's unforgivable. Confessing Christ is a joke. When vision have not separated you. 37, 6 and 7 of the book of Genesis. He said, we are keeping sheep. And my own rose and stood upright. That only vision can make rise, stand upright. And then your own made obeisance because they can't stand upright. Vision made it possible. Anywhere God separates two people is vision. It was clear vision that made Joseph know that he cannot settle down with Potiphar's wife. That he must not. The 10 virgins in 12 of the book of Matthew, vision separated them to make the other girls know that they will get other oil. Just like the way I am. I just know. Vision makes me see. Vision makes me see the future now. What is empowering me to be here now is vision. Nothing else. Clear vision. So what it does is that it produces a God from Moses. Remember that the moment that Moses became a God, in Jude chapter 1, that God that Moses became, Michael identified with it. And then the other part of Moses, that Michael couldn't identify with, Lucifer came to it. It is not Lucifer that came to it that matters. What matters is that there was a part that attracted Michael. There are people that Michael will never be attracted to them when they are sleeping. You see, because vision didn't separate the bad and the evil from them. For them, there is no part of them that have been separated. Everything in them is mixed up. So sometimes they struggle with knowing what is right. So how can they win when the positive is not yet separated distinctively? Separated distinctively. And then when the positive is separated distinctively by vision, it reveals darkness. That does not mean that it is out. But it casts shadow on it. So that whenever you miss it, you will know. But most of the time it's still there. It was there Jesus won. Listen, your light can be shining very bright, and some part of darkness is still by your side there. It can be there while you're winning great battles. Once in a while, it comes into the light, and then you knock it off, because you know the other part is already distinct. I said the other part. That is why in Zechariah chapter 3, he said, Joshua the high priest, He had a dirty linen. There is no human being on this earth that cannot be stained. What matters is that the other part of you that cannot be stained will always be protected even when it is stained, because it is already present. If I know there is a way I can live, I've already known. It's different from knowing. It is different from not knowing. Huh? If I know that immortality is making demand on living in a way, on
Living away.
and I know what is making demand on. If I cross the boundary, I will know that I'm crossing the boundary because I've known. What about if you don't know? Whatever you start knowing, know it very well. It's a course. Understanding the importance of improving what you already know. That's course number 11, is it? I say understanding the importance of improving what you already know. You already know it, you have to improve it. Don't say you've known it. When Jesus started reading things that concern him, he was reading it. He was knowing more about it. You know it, but you have to improve it. When the message of Zoe came to me, I didn't know immortality. I know Zoe. Some people call it Zoe. Call it, Zoe. The first thing I know is I know Zoe. And then from staying with Zoe, I know immortality. When I made the first book on, when I made this book on, there's a sequence I had. When I made the book on self-discovery and identity, after a while, self-discovery and identity gave back to the second person of every man's thought. It was the same angel.